Hello, Whale Fam. Today we have our next episode of Live with Zoup, where we analyze market trends and NFT gems while answering all of the community questions with Gauthier, the COO and co founder of Non-Fungibles, the world's largest NFT and non fungible markets data platform. Over the next 40 minutes, we will try and answer all your questions about NFT games, art, collectibles in the metaverse. If you have any questions about specific projects in Ethereum, pop them into the stream text and Rune will direct them to us and we'll try to get to every one of them. We'll also be having a little learn to earn game during the live stream today, so make sure you stay tuned for your chance to win some whale. Gauthier, thanks for coming on. How have you and Non-Fungibles been and what have you been up to the past week?
We are really good. That's a pleasure to be there. To be honest, it's been 2 weeks since the last live because you had this amazing auction last week. So
We
yeah,
did. Did you keep tuned for that?
absolutely. I've been in touch with Shark this morning about that. You guys are just killing it. That's amazing.
So, what were your thoughts on the auction and how the overall auction went? That was the first in a new format from Sotheby's.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's part of what they call the metaverse that they've created recently.
Yeah, that was their part of their metaverse.
So yeah, I think that's definitely an experiment, but that's an extremely exciting and promising one. I mean, just Sotheby's. I mean, that's just massive, and I think that this kind of auction and sales bring a lot of new legitimacy to the NFT space. I mean, that doesn't change anything about the artwork itself. The value of the artwork remains the same, but it just brings more legitimacy because a platform like Sotheby's, an auction house, an extremely famous auction house, is like, okay, this artwork from Pack deserves to be listed there. So I'm deeply, and it's something that we'll see in the next portfolio evaluation, but I'm deeply convinced that we'll see massive value fluctuations after these auctions.
Yeah, and just for those that didn't catch it, that was our first three items that we've ever sold from the vault that were listed up there. So we sold a pack for just over 1.1 million, a Hackatao for 504,000, and a Brendan Dawes for just under 38,000.
Mhm.
So quite some significant numbers there.
Yeah, and actually, it's a little, how to say, heartbreaking to see that, yeah, some artwork, some assets from the vault are being sold. I was like, oh no, that's part of the vault too. But yeah, I mean, that's an extremely good news actually.
Absolutely. I mean, Zub, one question that I do have for you, though, I think relative to just like a macro kind of your view on the market, what are some of the coolest trends that you observed in the past maybe 3 months since the change, since the space changes so quickly, and what long-term implications do you think they have?
Mhm. That's a good question. We recently published our Q3 quarter report, so we have a clear vision of what happened during this past quarter. So actually, to be honest, I must confess I've been mistaken. I was wrong. I really thought that after the collectible craze that we've seen during Q1, Q2 2021, we were basically at the edge of a bear market.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. We have seen the highest peak we've ever seen in the NFT industry. Yeah, basically we've seen. I can't tell the figures right away because we have some questions about that. But the thing is that collectibles now represent 90% of the NFT activity on the Ethereum blockchain. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It's a thing. I mean, the thing is that everyone is crazy about collectibles because it has proven that you can just make a lot of money with collectibles and that there is a huge market traction for collectibles and for these profile pictures. Is it a long-term trend? I don't know. Personally, I would say no. I hope not. But the thing is that it's a massive part of the market today. Um, so maybe down the road we'll see other trends, but even art. Art is just growing day after day, week after week, but it has nothing to see with collectibles. So if you just look at a global charts comparing these different segments, art, metaverses, which are bigger and bigger every day, just look ridiculously tiny compared to collectibles and these profile pages. So that's probably one of my main takeaway. And the second one is probably after these peaks that we've seen in mostly August this year, we see some sort of craze, something like a gold rush into NFTs. In any kind of gold rush, you have people that make money, and you have a lot of people that just lose money or just bet everything, hoping to become a millionaire. In the historical gold rush in Klondike, most people didn't make money at all, and they just lose everything. We are not there, hopefully, but the thing is that the the more you have a feeling that you can become rich easily and quickly, and the more chance you have to see people just betting everything they have and betting more than they can afford to lose. So I would say that's maybe my main concern regarding the NFT space these days, is because you have this kind of storytelling of mythology that some people made crazy amount of money in just a couple of days, week, months, just because they purchased the right asset at the right time. And we have the exact same thing with cryptocurrencies. I've seen it was yesterday, I think, someone spotted an account that purchased the crypto is called Shiba Inu, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 9 months ago, he purchased for 8,000 USD of this crypto. This is currently estimated at 5.7 billion. So in 9 months, moving from 8,000 to 5.7 billion is part of this mythology around cryptocurrencies and NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, that one took me by surprise as well, not just for that, but the fact that it overtook Dogecoin as well, which was, a kind of the one that it was cloning of. The clone overtook it. So that's something I haven't seen too much in the space.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the second thing is that just someone spent for 8,000 USD in sheep 9 months ago. Okay.
Yeah, and now a billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
So you were withholding the weekly peak sales data just before, because that's part of our learn to earn that we were going to do. So maybe we should, so we're not having to keep that figure back at the moment. Maybe we should do that for the first of the night. So the first person to get the value will get airdropped or tipped half a whale. So this is the weekly peak of NFT sales.
Absolutely. The USD volume of weekly sales. To be completely honest, we have been impressed by this figure, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. It happened in August, and right after I'll tell you a figure to give some sense of how crazy it is.
Yeah, that certainly took me by surprise when you mentioned it before.
Even if I'm working, I'm handling NFT data every day. I'm still not used to these kind of figures. I'm like, no, I should be wrong. No, it's not possible.
Is there a specific project that stands out in there as a bulk of that, or is it a combination of them?
It's a combination of a couple of projects. Among them, you have definitely CryptoPunks, Board Ape Yacht Club, Loot played a huge role on that too. Yeah, that's basically the main ones. So, and no, sorry, there are two things. You have these star projects, and you have just thousands of new collections every day that are just, minting new and new and new and new NFTs every day. Do we have any guess
No,
so
we
far?
haven't had any guesses yet. So
Oh.
maybe people don't want whale.
Maybe I can. Okay. I'll
Oh, we've got
probably.
one, 3 million.
Okay,
Maybe we
that's
can
more.
give a hint that it's not in the millions.
It's not in millions. It's a little more than 100 million.
100 million. Yep, still in the millions.
Not in the millions. 3 billion. Now that's too much. Just in a
Yep,
single week.
a single week, Mylene.
Yeah, just in a single week. So okay. The question is, what is the peak we have recorded in terms of volume of USD traded only on Ethereum over the past quarter? So we have some answers there. So 1.1 billion. Okay, that's
And
probably
1.2
the
billion from Mylene. So
one.
we're getting warmer.
Yep, that's the closest so far. Yeah, absolutely. 19 millions and 3 billion is too high. That's, and I think, this metric is interesting, but if you don't mind, we may have the second question about the total volume for the quarter right after, just to give a sense of what's going on right now. I think people need to realize what we are living.
Yeah.
And where we are.
So we've got Ferrier's
1.28.
pretty close there. So I reckon close enough.
Feria is.
They said 1.75 billion.
Honestly, I think we can consider this as a win because that's an estimate. So I think that can be considered as a win.
Yep. So the actual weekly peak volume is
1.7 billion in a single week. Only on Ethereum. So that doesn't take into account Polygon, Ronin, so Axie Infinity, Sorare, which are on other chains. So only for Ethereum, 1.7 billion in a single week. So yeah,
that is
congrats,
crazy.
That's crazy. And go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say you were also mentioned about what it is in the last quarter. So to pivot to that, just to sit there and show the volume, that one particular week made in comparison to the last quarter. So the question is, and obviously it's in if it's in billions again, if a weekly are in billions. What is the volume of NFT transactions on Ethereum in Q3?
Exactly, for the entire quarter. And that, honestly, this is probably the most mind-blowing figure we've ever seen. Yeah.
125 billion from Ferrier. That's a little hopeful.
That's a little high. That's a little high. So yeah, just keep in mind that 1.7 billion a week. And so for the quarter, what is your guess? The volume of USD, millionaire.
I think everyone's making calculations now. We already gave them a hint for per week, so
yeah.
Let's try and see whether they get an idea.
We're starting to see some that are heading a little more towards there, and now way off again.
less than 10.7 billion. It's actually less than 10 billion.
10.7 billion is more than 10 billion.
Yeah, it's still a little more than 10 billion. 32 billion is still over.
Oh, here we go. Now we're getting some closer ones.
9.6, 7.9, 8.8. You're not that far, guys. See? No. We have someone close. Jabu Apple is probably the closest so far. Oh,
Oh no, we've got someone else that's a bit closer. Sam Hadiaf.
Sam Hadiaf.
Pretty close.
Yeah, really, really close. So Sam Hadiaf.
Yeah, we're heading away from them now.
Yeah. Sam Hadiaf, you were the closest, but still a little update. Just try. You can get it. No, close to 6 close to 6 billion. 35 billion is not close to 6 billion.
I guess it's perspective. I mean, if you're a trillionaire, that's just pocket change.
Makes sense. If only.
All right. So 6 billion was close, people.
Jabu is not that far.
V-Taylor is close.
5.7. Okay. This will.
I think we'll have to go for. Oh, there we go. V-Taylor.
V-Taylor.
V-Taylor has 5.9 billion.
Yeah, absolutely, 5.9 billion. So let's wrap that up. In a single week, we have seen about 1.7 billion traded. It was basically by the end of August. In the entire quarter, we've seen almost 6 billion, so 5.9 billion traded. For the entire year, since January 2021, we've seen almost 9 billion. So do you realize how things are speeding up those days? And these are trends about August, September. So as that's a quarter report that doesn't include any statistics about October, of course, which is Q4. So do you realize how things are speeding up these days?
Yes, I've seen some of these projects that seem to be pumping. So one I was keeping an eye on the other day, but decided not to enter the gas war when I saw it peak over 6,000. It was Doodles. So I don't know if you've got many metrics on that, but it seems to be a bit more widely distributed than some of the other PFPs with 4.7 thousand owners of a 10,000 PFP project. So
that's a real issue. The centralization. It's something we've mentioned about CryptoPunks, and the more we look at PFPs, and the more we see that it's extremely centralized, and the more centralized, the less healthy, actually.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good distribution. It's just over 2 per person that's got in there. So, but huge trade volumes on there, given the time frame. In my opinion, though, 13.6 thousand ETH traded in that one profile project alone. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
We do. I was going to say we do have some questions from people in the stream. So someone wanted to know the thoughts on fractionalizing art NFTs and its future in onboarding people into more expensive projects.
So I personally see two kind of fractionalization of art. Of artworks. The first one is something which is not pure fractionalization, but some sort of, let's say, decentralized ownership with the different kind of layers you may have on an artwork. It's something, I don't remember the exact name of his artwork. It's something that we've seen where basically someone may own the background, someone may own this character or something like that. And the thing is that you don't necessarily own the entire artwork, you just own little pieces of the artwork. That's some kind of fractional ownership. The second one is, of course, more something like, just creating shards of this asset. Actually, I think both make sense. I'm personally maybe, both are extremely interesting because it's definitely a way to create liquidity on assets that are less and less liquid. Because if you take the example of, let's say, an artwork from Pack or from Xcopy or let's say Beeple, they are now worthing almost 1 million or 500,000. These are no more liquid assets. So there's definitely some ways to create fractionalized ownership to recreate liquidity on this kind of assets. And that's definitely a signal that the NFT space is growing more and more, because as now some assets have been just unaffordable for most of human being. If we want to get a piece of that, we need fractionalized ownership. We need this kind of access to this kind of ownership. So that's definitely interesting. I don't know if the use case is 100% mature yet. I think we are still in a test and learn approach. But on the other hand, I don't think that's limited only to art. I think that basically any kind of extremely valuable asset, like a piece of land in a metaverse, or even some extremely rare collectible, may be relevant for fractionalized ownership too.
Something
And
something that I did want to add to this as well is, talking about fractionalized ownership. I mean, if projects were to be promoting as such, I know that there's a chance that they may be exposing themselves to the purview of securities and commodities regulators. And maybe instead, non-fractionalized projects would actually be at an advantage if they weren't to be fractionalized. But I'm also seeing an kind of emergence of investment DAOs coming up, like for example, Party DAO, where members can actually pull together capital and invest in projects, at early stages, or, own something that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. So how do you kind of see the emergence of these DAOs kind of be affected by kind of these scare of regulations by the SEC?
Um, that's a good one. It's not a question I have most of really often. I think no, I don't want to create a panic, but I think DAOs are the new ICOs. I see new DAOs every day, and that's just amazing how everyone is creating a DAO to purchase NFTs, to do something, to invest, to do stuff. It was not that popular just 2 years ago. So I think that these DAOs try to, yeah, diversify the activity between investment, ownership, loan, considering NFTs as collateral. It's obvious that extremely quickly we'll see the SEC applying new regulation to these DAO activities. So I think that we are still in this gray area where it's not necessarily entirely forbidden, it's not necessarily entirely allowed, but I think that the SEC will be extremely clear. We'll probably see some major drifts soon, and right after, yeah, we will have more regulation, and maybe half of these DAOs will have to restructure themselves or stop the activity or do something else. Or yeah, I think we are just exploring the DAO mechanism today. We are just trying to merge this intersection. Sorry, to explore this intersection of DAOs and NFTs, and to see how DAOs can invest into NFTs, how DAOs can own NFTs, and these kind of things.
Absolutely. I feel like though with DAOs, if people are not choosing to go the fractionalization route, I feel like it's still something somewhat of a comparative advantage, maybe sometime down the road, comparison to projects that did choose that route. But I mean, DAO operating systems, they're so easy for anyone to. It's so easy for people to start DAOs, to be honest, and it doesn't really require too much technical skills. So it's going to be fascinating to see what direction people take this and what other forms it's going to take.
Absolutely. And just to add something about that, when I say that DAOs are the new ICOs, I mean, actually, there's nothing to compare between DAOs and ICOs, but it's just like it's a new mechanism. It's a new way to, invest, make business, create some kind of a corporation, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really a bad thing. I mean, with ICOs, that was a huge opportunity to kick a lot of new companies to innovate, to explore the field of what ICOs allowed, and that's exactly the same with DAOs. So yeah, of course there will be drift, but at the end of the day, there will always be something good outside of that.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think for outside of DAOs and onto the more smaller scale? What do you think some of the obstacles are for people and mass adoption right now, other than the cost?
I would say that we still need a lot of educations about what are NFTs, and maybe we should stop calling them NFTs because this notion is extremely vague and does not resonate with most people. And basically, when I have to explain what are NFTs, I have to dig immediately into, okay, that can be artwork, that can be a domain name, that can be game assets. And this, in some cases, resonates with people. Okay, that's a game asset. It's something I know, I understand what it is. An NFT is just like, using the term object or asset. That's globally everything. So I think the first thing is about just education. More and more, tutorials, interventions of experts into the mainstream media, trying to debunk what are NFTs. And the second thing is, and it will happen one way or another, but less speculation. If we have some sort of a bear market, an NFT bear market or something like that, where basically for now almost a year we just see new peaks and new peaks and new peaks every week. If at some point we just see that some projects just froze completely, that just there is no more demand, there is just too much offer and not enough demand. In that case, okay, some part of the NFT industry ecosystem market uh, will decrease or will just almost disappear. But it won't crash, it will freeze some part of the industry. And after something like that, we may see more people that are actively involved into the project and more people that want to experiment, do something, play the game, own something that they really like, and not people just buying to resell. And I know that's extreme, yeah, some kind of saturation, just like you say, Cryptory. We currently experiment some kind of saturation. We are not yet saturated, but it's something that will happen one way or another. There are way too many new collections for for not enough value created. So I think that this pure speculation is definitely an obstacle for mass adoption. And the last thing is, and that's related to that, the gas fees. I mean, when you have to pay 50, 100, 200 USD to purchase an NFT, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. If you have been into crypto for a year or 2 years or more, okay, you probably know that that's part of the game, and that even if you pay 100 USD for a transaction, that's okay. That's still affordable. But for someone external that just really purchased 200 USD of ETH, wow. I mean, I don't want to waste everything just into gas fees.
Yeah. And some of the projects, like I mentioned before, with Doodles, the one that jumped up to 6,000 Gwei, worked out to be about 750 USD for a transaction. And I can certainly see that as a hugely off-putting thing. But I guess that's up to some of these projects to work out some more fair distribution mechanisms. So I know that a lot are going the whitelist route and things like that now to try and encourage people or to benefit people that are with them in the early days from Twitter or Discord or whatever it is, or buying a pre-existing artwork holders and things like that. So yeah, I definitely see it as a case of buyer beware, and I think there's going to be a lot of people feeling the pain when we do start to get some of these bear market conditions set in, and they realize that it's not insane gains endlessly, which is what a lot of people seem to promote.
Yeah, and that just doesn't exist. You can't just make money endlessly. I mean, oh, that would be the largest and most dangerous financial bubble in the entire world.
Yeah. And education, I think, is another thing that I have to agree on that strongly needs to improve for people to understand what it is that they're buying, because I still see so many people not grasping the concept of ownership in the case. Especially when it comes to static images and things like that. I mean, it's a little different with collectibles that have a gamification or a tie-in of some sort, but with pure art and things like that, that a lot of people still don't understand the difference between right click and saving it and actually owning it. So
you know what? This comparison may sound a little extreme, but I would say that the real understanding of true ownership is some kind of PTSD. If you ever experience losing something that you thought you really own, okay, you understand that you didn't really own it. And so true ownership means something for you. If you've never lost something because you just don't really care, or you just have, a Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube account, and you don't really own anything, that doesn't mean something for you. That doesn't resonate with you. But in the example of Vitalik Buterin that just lost his account in World of Warcraft, I guess, he really truly thought he owned it, but no, he owned nothing. So yeah, you need maybe to experience it the hard way and to really realize that you may lose something, and that with NFTs you truly own something that no one can steal.
yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It's not a way I've considered before, but I don't know about the no way to steal, because there's certainly a lot of scams and hacks and things in the space that have exploited that, and people are feeling that pain of what loss actually is, because they don't have their assets anymore.
Yeah.
So how much we're obviously in a big hype cycle. There's a huge amount of money coming into the space. How much do you think is related with the price of ETH and the price of that going up or being sustained?
That's a good question. That's really hard to measure, actually, because in this market you have basically two trends. You have the actual NFT trend of more people buying more assets, and you have of course this trend of just the price of ETH and others other cryptocurrencies that goes up and down. So what you see is that if ETH goes up, basically all the altcoin will globally go up. So NFTs are not only bought with ETH. You can, I mean, we see a lot of volume with Sand, with Mana, with DAI, and some other stable coins. So I would say that's part of the explanation, but I don't have any exact figure right away. But I would say that maybe that's maybe just a quarter, 25% of the increase in terms of USD is due to that, due to the value of ETH. The rest is just really because there are more active wallets, more sales, more people, that the floor price of a CryptoPunk increases even in terms of ETH, not only in terms of USD. So, and sorry, just one thing about that. The thing is that you have really two kind of philosophical approaches to price in the NFT industry. You can, if you are some kind of a maximalist, you'll want more ETH one way or another. If you are just a trader, let's say a regular trader, you just focus on the USD value. So some will consider that as a win if they get more ETH, whatever the value of ETH. Some will consider that as a win if they get more USD at the end of the day.
Yeah, interesting that you put that about 25% now. I know that going back maybe 2 months ago when we were discussing it, you had it at about 50-50, so in terms of linking. So interesting to see. But yeah, I've certainly seen some of the trends. I noticed that as ETH and Bitcoin start to push towards all-time highs again before any altcoins or NFTs are carried up, that there's a big pullback, and I think that's from people wanting to shift liquidity from one market to another to try and capitalize on those gains before shifting back. So I know I've certainly seen some really good bargain priced NFTs by comparison when ETH and that start to head to all-time high because people want to get on that.
Absolutely. That's funny because it's something that we can totally compare with a traditional market. I mean, I'm personally in France, I'm in Europe. If we look at the price of gas, really, the gas for your car, for example, we know the price in euro, but the value actually of gasoline is the price is initially in USD. So we compare the price of basically euro to USD and then USD, the current price of a barrel of gasoline. So it's exactly the same with ETH, basically. If USD goes up compared to euro or vice versa, and that's exactly the same for the barrel of gasoline, it's basically you have three kind of assets where the value can dip and evolve compared to the other one, and you have two currencies and an object. That's exact same thing with NFTs. You got objects, NFTs, and you got two kind of currencies, which is USD and ETH. So price of ETH can go up or down compared to USD, and the price of the object can go up or down compared to ETH. That may sound a little complex, but at the end of the day, it's something that we see on traditional markets.
And that's what I guess you were saying before, where you've got people pricing in at different amounts. Some people pricing comparing to USD, and some people comparing to ETH. So I guess much in the same. You're talking about the barrel of gas. It's if the value of euro changes against USD, that's going to affect the price. But if you're comparing euro to USD, that's something different again. So
yeah, exactly.
So what would you say to people that are just getting into the space at the moment? I mean, there's obviously a huge amount of money coming in. People are putting in all sorts of projects, not necessarily knowing what to buy. What resources would you recommend for them?
My first advice would be patient. It will take you a lot of time to know exactly what you purchase. The answers to all the questions you have are not that easy to find. You'll have to spend time on Twitter. You'll have to spend time on Discord. Hang out as much as you can. Talk to as many people as you can to make your own decision. As everyone is creating or trying to resell an asset for a higher price, everyone will tell you you should purchase that. I know that's the best one to buy. Never trust no one. Never consider that someone that gives you a financial advice is legitimate to do that. So read a lot. If you find a project that sounds interesting to you for some reasons, I don't know, you like the design, you like the storytelling, you like the artist, but you like the team, something. Spend time just doing your due diligence. So basically, who are the founders? What is the team? Have they built something before? Is this project innovative in any way? Yeah, trust no one. Read a lot and be patient. Never panic buy, never panic sell. Never. I mean, if you see something that looks really promising and you think that you should get this asset, just put your keyboard, mouse, tablet, phone, whatever on the table. Just have a walk for 1 hour and get back. If you still think the exact same thing, okay, why not? Let's consider purchasing this asset. But it's not because, no FOMO and no FUD. And, we have this kind of psychosociological trends right now of people just buying as much as they can or just selling as much as they can because oh my god, things are moving, the market is moving. And it's just basically a signal of there is a lot of volatility these days. Okay, the market is super liquid, the market is just pumping as hell, but there is way too much volatility on the market. I've personally followed a couple of projects that I own assets or I'm just interested in this collection. And I do what I personally call that shadow trading or shadow investing. That I don't really put money into that, but I'm like, okay, let's say I've purchased one of these assets for 1 ETH at that time, and I just go back every here and there, every day, week, and I just look at what happens. Uh, does the price goes up or down, how the liquidity evolves, this kind of stuff. Of course, I have a lot of metrics thanks to non-fungible.com, but I just look at what happened and I try to learn. I mean, I'm in the space for 4 years now, but I'm learning every day. I don't know how the market is going to evolve in the next few days or weeks. So I just spend a lot of time trying to understand the new market patterns. If you see something just rising like that, is it going to decrease right after or not? I don't know. I'm personally still learning how these market patterns evolve.
Yeah, I think that's what some of these projects are relying on as well, though, is exploiting people's FOMO. When you're sitting there and you're having limited time windows, you've got whitelists that have built up, and you know that something's got this. Especially when a lot of them do like a campaign, like a Twitter invite campaign or something like that, to try and get more people interested in it. That's where you do see the gas spike, and you can't walk away for an hour because you walk away for 30 seconds and you've likely lost something. And I think some of these projects are really exploiting that to try and capitalize on people panicking that they won't get into something. So
Absolutely. And don't, as much as you can, don't be greedy. Don't be too greedy and don't be greedy if you can. I totally understand that some people are there to speculate on NFTs, and okay, why not? But yeah, just never forget that an NFT is not a speculation asset per natural. An NFT is meant to be, I don't know, a profile picture, an asset in a game or an artwork or something. A, an NFT is not per definition, or should not, in my opinion, be a speculative asset per definition. If you speculate on real estate, okay, but that's still real estate. It's meant to be a house or a flat. That's the same for cars. That's the same for these non-fungible assets.
yeah. And I guess back to what you were saying before as well, with someone giving free financial advice. That's something else I do see a lot as well. And these people are obviously those people that have loaded up bags of whatever it is that they're trying to push, because they know that the more people that get into it, the price is going to go up, and they're basically getting and building some exit liquidity. So.
Mhm. And always ask yourself this question. If someone gives you, let's say, free financial advice, what is motivation? What is the reason for someone that is currently making money with NFTs to give you some hints about what to purchase or what not to purchase?
Yeah.
If tomorrow I tell you that you should absolutely purchase this kind of asset, I mean, just never invite me anymore to the whale community.
So I guess this is just one of many barriers that are in the NFT space. How do you feel for newcomers to the space these barriers are now versus 12 months ago?
Oh, I would say that 12 months ago, most people didn't know what were NFTs. So at that time, it was more about more communication, more marketing. Today, I think we have way more marketing, maybe too much, and a lot of communication too. Um, so yeah, it's not necessarily about uh, getting the NFT notion to the mainstream. Most of the mainstream have heard about NFTs one way or another. Now it's more about explaining what is the real value of NFTs. And due to this, I mean, most of the people have heard about NFTs like they're worth a lot. Some images of punks are worth millions for some reasons. No one understands why. And you can basically sell any kind of crappy image on Ethereum and make money with that. I would say that's the global vision of the mainstream about NFTs. So now we need to fight against that or to prove that no, it's not exactly that. Okay, some people have purchased weird images on Ethereum that maybe doesn't look that good, or I don't know. But NFT are not only that. NFT are not only about PFPs. NFT are not only about speculation. So I, I'm personally, I'm doing some sort of consulting services for non-fungible.com, and the question I always have is, what can we do with NFTs? Some people understood that there is value there, but they don't necessarily understand what they can do except profile pictures or pure collectibles. You know, building a use case, building a tokenomics is way more complex than it looks. So yeah.
And I guess one more question from stream before we close off for the night. And it's something that I was reading the other day about Adobe certifying mints now internally in their programs. Did you have you read anything on that? And what do you think of that? And how will that affect the price of new projects?
I don't know. I'm mitigated on this one. I have mixed feelings. Actually, that sounds like a good idea, but the fact that a purely centralized company uh, certify something which is meant to be decentralized and authenticated by the blockchain, that sounds a little weird to me. Uh, I expect things to be certified by the blockchain, not by Adobe. So if Microsoft or Adobe or IBM or whoever tries to certify something on the blockchain, what is the purpose of the blockchain? I mean, I can just rely on Adobe. So uh, I personally feel like it's a try for these kind of companies to uh, enter the space and to prove that they can bring value to something that looks like the wild west for them. And it's actually the NFT space and the crypto space is some kind of a wild west. But I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think if Adobe or any of these GAFA can bring something to the NFT space.
I do see it as kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, you've got, like you mentioned, that it's putting it into the hands of someone central, and that you can kind of eliminate the blockchain from. But on the other hand, it does simplify for a lot of people as well, because you've got a lot of newcomers that are coming into the space that don't know how to read, the blockchain, that don't know how to verify that what is in their wallet came from, the correct location. And I think even, some longer term people that are in the space have experienced the same thing. Whether that be a fake Banksy that was purchased a few
Yeah,
months ago.
but same. I mean, I don't remember the exact details of this sale, but I mean, before purchasing something like that, just do a lot of research. I mean, Banksy in the NFT space, that requires a lot of research, a lot of cross validation. I mean, I would personally never buy something if I'm not sure that that's a real one from Banksy. And there is probably a lot of ways to just get a confirmation that it's not a scam. So same. I mean, if you have a doubt, there is no doubt. You shouldn't buy.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, like I mentioned before, that people just aren't thinking of in the space, that they see these people making huge gains and just don't want to miss it. So.
Absolutely. And maybe before we close that, I may share something with you. It's something, I mean, you probably have heard about these ones, but I'm just going to share my screen. Do we have a couple of more minutes?
Yep, sure.
All right. So you may have heard about what I personally call the storytelling of NFTs. It's basically that you can make millions with NFTs. Just look at that. That's crazy. Everything is amazing. So if you look at art blocks, you've seen these crazy sell, which are not that crazy actually. Less than 1 million is no more crazy in the NFT space. But some of the highest sales of all time, like these two ones, okay, 6 million, 5 million, that's amazing, almost 7 million there. But the most amazing thing, and what is part of the storytelling about NFTs, is that do you know for how much that guy, the seller, purchased the artwork? That guy, sorry, it was this one, purchased the artwork for 128 USD 9 months ago, and he sold it back for almost 7 million. So in one trade, that guy that purchased the right asset at the right time made almost 7 million. On this one, this guy purchased the asset 2000 USD 9 months ago, and he sold it back for almost 6 million. These are not sales that you see every day. These are absolutely, unique, rare sales. But the thing is that it's so shocking that everyone remembers those sales and are like, oh my gosh, okay, so I can, if I grab everything that I can today, one of these assets will worth 6 million in a couple of months. So what we see is a lot of people buying everything they can. And the second thing is that we see more and more people being what we call illiquid. So basically, these guys are, a lot of people are buying a lot of NFTs, more than what they can afford. And okay, technically speaking, they may be richer than they were before, but they have to sell something if they want to buy something else, or if they just want to pay their loan, they have to sell NFTs because most of their treasury is currently stuck into NFTs. And if you become illiquid, if everything you got, all the cash you have is stuck into NFTs, you have to sell fast. You don't have a choice. You have to sell fast. And if you need to sell, you will sell at a cheaper price, or you won't make a great deal. People that make great deals are people that are not in a hurry. If you are in a hurry, you won't make a great deal. So just because of this kind of sales, of people considering that they can make millions or billions, a lot more and more people become illiquid. And we see this kind of trend of people like, okay, I need to sell right now or I won't be able to pay my loan. So that's maybe one of the concerns I have today in the space.
Yeah, Anissa, did you want to add something to that?
Yes, there was a question to your earlier point as well, just before we ended off. I've been hearing some news about eBay and Amazon having plans to start their own NFT marketplaces. How do you think that this would affect the landscape of NFT marketplaces? And, a lot of marketplaces now, it's not that broad anymore. A lot of them are doing curated auctions in order to preserve the quality. So how do you think this would affect, let's say, smaller artists or people just coming out into the space?
I'm personally absolutely not expecting any kind of innovation from these guys because per definition they are centralized. So an NFT marketplace created by Amazon or Facebook or IBM, that would be just pure, totally against the DNA of NFTs. So I don't think that will bring anything, let's say, really new to the space. That will definitely bring a lot of visibility of buzz around NFTs because just look at that, Amazon is doing something with NFTs. Facebook is creating a metaverse. Wow. But okay, that's more these big guys. I personally see that as a panic move. Oh gosh, we've missed the NFT train. We need to do something with NFTs. Let's, I don't know, create a marketplace. But NFTs are decentralized. If you want to respect that, you can't be Amazon or Facebook creating an NFT marketplace. That's not something you are used to. It's not something you can deal with. You are meant to be centralized. And it is what it is. You are doing a great job being centralized. Don't try to mess up with decentralized stuff.
Gotcha. So your point is stay away, just leave us be in decentralized. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a little too extreme on that. I don't know.
No, I think we're all on the same ship here, so don't even worry about that.
I hope no one from Apple or Google or Facebook was there.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Awesome.
Oh,
All right.
thank you for joining us again, and it's been lovely to speak to you and have your knowledge and wisdom shared amongst everyone. So look forward to doing that again sometime soon.
My pleasure. And if you want to learn more about what happened during the last quarter, we just released the quarter report on our website. So you can just go to nonfungible.com and download the quarter report Q3 for free.
Okay, I will drop those links into the stream chat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
guys.
Zoup. Have a great day. Bye-bye.